Good morning, everybody. So, today is oil flush day. Now, before anybody flames me in the comments for either one of those Fram oil filters right there or the K&N oil filter for the Cummins, let me explain what's happening here. So, the jug and the oil filters are going to be the main components here. We're going to do the flush with 50-50 diesel, 50-50, it's 50-50 diesel and 1540 oil. I got some cheap oil. You can't see it because it's buried over there, but it's like Super Tech. It's from Walmart. It's the cheapest oil I've found to buy in any kind of bulk is the 2.5 gallon Super Tech at Walmart, because obviously Walmart has buying power in the billions, so they can buy cheap oil. For this, since you're wasting whatever oil is in the truck already, and in this case it's less than a 200-mile oil change, the oil you're going to put in with the diesel to let it run around for about 20 to 30 minutes at idle, sitting here in the driveway. The next oil change of 12 X quarts is also going to get just recycled, because that's the intermediate oil change. And then the final oil change, which will be the K&N oil change, is going to be in there for about 500 miles, actual driven miles. And I'm using the Traveler brand, and you can see it down there, right next to the trash can. There's a big 5 gallon bucket of Traveler. And then I'll go right back to Rotella 1540 T4. I run conventional oil in this truck because it's 200,000 miles. Whatever wear is in there, it's already in there. Synthetic's not going to help me at this point, probably. And it's just more money to spend on oil changes for a truck that's got 200,000 miles on it. Again, there's nothing wrong with the motor, necessarily. There's no blow-by. I still have plenty of power. It's running, for all intents and purposes, it's running just fine. The Fram oil filters, those are going to be the oil filters you use when you're flushing. They're trash. You're only picking up the big stuff inside the motor on these flushes. So I'm not going to go buy Wix filters for that and spend $20 for an oil filter, or whatever a Wix filter costs. I don't know I don't know. I normally run Wix, but I don't know what it costs right off the top of my head. Those are cheap. I bought them at Walmart. I'm going to throw them right away. They're going to be on the truck for 30 minutes at the most. And then that's it. They're going right in the trash. And then I'm going to use that K&N for the 500-mile oil drain interval. And then after that, I'm going to go right back to Wix and be done with it. I don't think K&N filters are that great. They're good enough for 500 miles. They're probably not going to clog. But I want to run something a little better than a Fram for 500 miles, of course. But I don't want to run necessarily the best oil filter I can get. I'm not going to put an oil bypass on this thing. Not going to try and do all that craziness. I'm going to upgrade the fuel system, because my entire fuel system is brand new, but doing that to the oil at this point, I don't know if it's necessary. I don't know. I'll think about it. Don't judge me. Anyway, so I got two Fram throwaways, a K&N for a 500-mile oil change. I got to run up and I got to fill the can with some diesel. I got to fill up the tank with some diesel. I got the old Wix fuel filter I'm going to change today as well. I'm not going to video that, because if you don't know, unless you just put it down in the comments, and if you want to see me change a fuel filter on my truck, there's 15 videos that you can pull up on YouTube of people changing a 3rd-gen common rail fuel filter. So I don't know that I need to flood YouTube and do repeat content on it. It rained like hell here last night. This is Saturday morning. Oh man, it poured last night. Right around like 8 o'clock, the skies opened up, and it was just a horrendous downpour. It's really bright and sunny. There's some clouds in the sky, but it's bright and sunny. It's in the 50s now, so it's good working weather, but the concrete is wet. And the sun's, the way my house sits, the sun's not on the concrete. It's on my neighbor's driveway, but it's not on mine yet. So I got to take the truck up I'm going to fill the tank up. I'm going to get some diesel. I might run by O'Reilly's and get some more brake and parts cleaner. But I'm going to get the truck up to operating temperature, full on, and then we'll come home and start. I'm going to video this whole thing, so this is going to be a long video. It's going to be kind of cut up, so you'll see me. I'm going to stop the video here and then restart it and then whatever. But you got to get the truck up to operating temperature for this to really be effective, in my opinion. I mean, I could do it now, but I just don't think it would be as good, because you got to get the oil hot and get all that stuff rolling around in there. And once you get that diesel in there, you'll see. Got my oil pan over there. I'm gonna drain everything into. I'm gonna put it in buckets, and I'll show you what the oil looks like when it comes out for this oil change. It has less than 500 miles on it, and then I'll show you at every step about how it looks. Maybe we'll catch some chunks. I don't know. We'll see. But I saved all of my containers so I can put all the containers in, or all the oil in all the old antifreeze and transmission containers and everything in the oil containers I have. I haven't thrown any of those jugs away, so I got a bunch of 1 gallon containers. I'm not going to keep them around so I can let it settle and do some goofy oil analysis. I'm just going to either recycle it or give it to a friend who does a lot of burning. He starts a lot of fires with the oil. He has a tree service, and every fall around this time of the year, he burns a pile of wood about as big as my house, is as tall and as wide, and about 7 houses long. He takes his whole entire year of tree debris and trash and burns it all in the fall. Since it's been kind of a wet fall and we're going to expect snow next week, he's probably going to be burning. So I'll give it to him, let him torch off some tree trimmings with it. But stay tuned. Again, like I said, when I get back from filling the truck up and getting some diesel, we'll start this whole video nightmare. So it's going to be a long one, so stick around. Remember to like and subscribe. Thanks. All right, so I'm back from the store. So this is what the oil looks like on the dipstick. It's probably going to be really hard to see, but what I do have is a white paper towel, so you can see how gross it is. So not too bad, because again, I've done 2 oil changes on it. So it's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be as bad as I thought it was going to be, but I'm still going to flush it. I'm still going to do the flush cycle, and I'm going to use 8 quarts of diesel and 4 quarts of oil instead of half and half, because I really want to get it good and clean. So not too bad. Not too bad. I went and got the diesel. The truck's warmed up. I'm going to do a drain and fill. Start it back up. Be back with you in a little bit. Okay, so I drained it. Now, I'm going to change the plan here, because when I went and got the oil changed the last time, which was last Saturday, a week ago, I went to an oil change place. So I know they put probably a cheap filter on there, right? They're not going to put a Wix filter on it at an oil change place. So that being said, I'm going to leave that one on for the first flush cycle with the diesel and oil mix, because it's already on there. It's already a cheap throwaway filter. I don't care about it. I was going to throw it away anyway, and it's a week old, so it's not clogged. So I've already put the first gallon. So I've already put the first gallon in here, and I use a normal Rubbermaid household pitcher. That's what I use. That's how I measure everything. That way I can get precise measurements, and I don't have to worry about nothing. So stand by. I'm going to put you over here so you can see what I'm doing. Sorry about these camera angles. I'm not a professional photographer. quarts. I'm gonna do 3 quarts at a time because it's kind of a pain. All right, so we let it sit there for about 20 minutes. And the truck is going to cool down because it's just sitting there. And Cummins doesn't necessarily idle and overheat. It's not like our gas motor. They actually tend to cool down. So this is a white cloth. I'm going to dip it in here like this. Kind of show you the nastiness that came out. So you can see it got some stuff out. So this is the diesel and oil mix. It pulled a bunch of stuff out. When I did this on my 2003 Common Rail, I literally had to get a screwdriver and poke it up into the drain hole on the oil pan when I drained this out. This one doesn't look that bad, but I also haven't dumped it in the bucket yet. And I don't know that it will look that bad, but it's pretty gross no matter what. I don't have a good place to set you up because I'm doing this with my phone. My other camera is just a piece of crap. Not that this one's much better, but I'm going to try and figure. I'm going to try and film as much of this as I can. It's pretty tough, but you get a little extra vapor, so if you check while your truck's running, you pull your cap off, you're going to get extra vapor out of it because you're heating up that diesel. And if there's any moisture in that diesel at all, it's going to really come out as steam. That, in general, can be a little bit deceiving to people, thinking that they're inducing blow-by in their motor. I did clean this a little bit before I started this. I cleaned the pan out when I drained the other oil out of it. And this is super runny, of course, because it's mostly diesel fuel. There's some chunks in there, that's for sure. Sludgy chunks. Nothing you'd probably be able to see on camera, but there's some stuff in there. It's kind of gritty. So, yeah. So this has been drained out. I'm going to change the filter next. And I've already got the Phantom oil filter right there. Mostly filled with oil, ready to go. So I'll be back with you. All right, so second oil fill. Again, I'm using the pitcher, making sure I have exactly what I need. I've already changed the oil filter, so that's done. And I use one of the cheap Frams for this. A little bit breezy out here today, so I'm trying to avoid blowing oil all over the place while I'm trying to fill the truck up. So. much left in this jug, so I'm just going to dump it in there. I'll check it, start it, let it idle for 20 minutes, and do one last oil change. In the meantime, I've been taking care of all this oil mess, dumping it in jugs and getting it ready. So try not to waste that 20 minutes. I mean, it's not like you're wasting it one way or the other, but right up to the full mark. Put these handy dandy little hooks on all my funnels, and I drilled a little hole so I can hang funnels into my trash can so the mess stays in the trash can. Alright. I'll get back with you in a minute. All right, so I just drained the second interval. I'm about to do the last oil change. I'm going to show you the quality of the oil on this white paper towel. So a marked difference in cleanliness in that oil. Still got some stuff in it, but overall it's not coal coming out of the motor. So you can see that the flush really does get a lot of that trash out of there. I didn't see a lot of chunks. I saw some grime. I saw a little bit of grit in the bottom of the bucket, but no chunks like the last motor. But that's it right there. That's a result of doing preventative maintenance and good maintenance and keeping up on all your stuff. All right, so final time. The oil has been changed for the last time. Sorry, I'm trying to get you in the right spot here. It's filled up. I used 3 quarts of oil stabilizer and 9 quarts of oil and 1 quart in the K&N oil filter that I filled it about 3/4 of the way. Let's see how it looks. So looking at the dipstick, that a better view? Yeah. You can see it's really clean. I just started it, made sure all the oil was flowing, there was no leaks. So there it is. Flushing your motor works and it doesn't destroy your motor. I used 8 quarts of diesel and 4 quarts of oil to do the initial flush. Again, get it hot, drive it around, go get the diesel, bring it home, drain it, fill it, run it for 20 minutes. I ran it for 20 minutes, 25 minutes-ish. And it turned out nice. Real nice, Clark. Real nice. So this will go for 500 miles. Change it again, and then I'm done. Like I said, this is the Traveler brand 1540, and there is nothing wrong with Traveler brand oil. There's nothing wrong with SuperTech oil. The only reason I used both of those for this purpose is because it's cheaper than Rotella. Rotella is $13 a gallon, just about everywhere you go, Walmart, everywhere. So if you want to use Rotella T4, you're going to pay between probably $11 and $14 a gallon for it. I got two. I don't remember what I paid for the Super Tech. I got two 2.5 gallon jugs, and then I got a 5 gallon jug of the Traveler. By far, both of those are the cheapest ones I've been able to find that were decent oil. There's nothing wrong. I've looked up. I called Blackstone Laboratories and I asked them if they'd ever tested just brand new Traveler oil and brand new Super Tech, and they said it meets all of the same specifications that 15W40 across the board has to meet. Again, I used it because it was cheap, and I was just going to be putting it in there and draining it right back out. So I don't want to spend $13 a gallon when I can spend, I don't know, 5 gallons, $8 a gallon. This is like 43 or some dollars for a 5 gallon bucket at Tractor Supply. So $8 a gallon is better than $13 a gallon to throw it in your motor and drain it right back out. But like I said, the vapor thing, if you take your cap off while the motor's running and you're flushing it, you're going to see a lot more vapor because you're heating up that diesel. And if there's water in there, you're going to see that vapor. It's going to come out. I saw more vapor, but it wasn't excessive to the point where I thought there might be something wrong or I did blah, blah, blah to my motor. I didn't damage the motor. I know for a fact I didn't. And then I will probably at the end of that 500-mile interval, I'm probably going to do a test, send it off to Blackstone Laboratories to see if there's anything in it, and they'll tell you exactly what's wrong with your motor if they find a problem, excessive wear metals, antifreeze, etc. They can diagnose a Cummins motor or a Power Stroke or a Duramax or anything. You really send them because people have been testing them for a long time. They got the baselines and they know which parts give what metals off into the oil when they're overly worn. So in 500 miles, I'll know whether I've got a good motor or a bad motor. I think if any damage was done to this motor, it was well before I owned it. Again, it's got 200,000 miles on it, so there's 200,000 miles worth of what is known as minimum wage abuse, where people are driving the truck just to drive it into the ground. Not doing the maintenance they should, not taking care of it the way they should. So, but it's running better now. It does seem to run smoother. I don't have a vibration scale to tell you that it runs smoother. Again, I did film as much of this as I could. It's kind of a hassle to film a lot of this because, you know, you're up and down, you're climbing under the truck, you're filling it up, you're draining the old stuff into a bucket so you can use the drain pan again, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to cut all that into this. But you can see the process. Drain and fill it, change your filters, drain and fill it, change your filters, drain and fill it. Pretty simple. I usually do this on every car I own, gas or diesel. The only car I haven't done this on that I got that was well used was my Crown Vic. The Crown Vic, when I got it, had 103,000 miles on it. But because they're a fleet maintained, it was an actual police car. It was a detective's car out of Oak Ridge, Tennessee. And because they're fleet maintained, they changed they're running those cars so much that they're putting 3,000 miles a week on them sometimes. So whether it's 3,000 or 5,000 miles, whatever their drain interval is, they don't get a chance to get dirty because they're just changing the oil constantly. So right now with 115,000 miles on that car, the honey gold, very, very clear oil. And it's 5W20 or 30 in that thing anyway, so it's not real thick oil like 1540 where I think a lot of stuff would suspend in it. But I've never done that to that car, and I actually went for an oil change when I was on a trip to Michigan, and I stopped in because I was due, and the guy asked me if I was making a mistake because he pulled my dipstick and said, "Your oil looks brand new. Are you sure you need an oil change?" And I assured him I did. I pulled the sticker off the windshield, and he double checked the mileage, and it had, I think, 4,500 miles on it, and it's cleaned out from all the oil changes over its life, and I keep up on the maintenance as well as with all the other vehicles that you've seen me work on. So be mindful. Take care of your stuff. It'll last forever. Don't take care of it, and then you can sell it to me, and I'll revive it and make it into something drivable and fun. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. We'll talk about it in the comments. Peace out. All right, so I just changed my fuel filter. Now again, this is less than 500 miles, and I ran a um, anti-algae bactericide kind of thing through the tank. So that's less than 500 miles. That thing's already pretty nasty. I opened some of the pleats in the filter, and it's pretty gross in there. And that's me doing very minimal driving because I just couldn't with the truck doing all the test driving and all the fixing. So that's what it looks like. I put a brand new one in there, and it's, they come out of the box with they're a white filter media, and to see this one in this bad a shape, I'm glad I changed it, because I don't know if I was getting good fuel flow through that or not. It doesn't look too bad. The one that I pulled out of it when I changed this one, so one of the first things I did was to change this fuel filter back in June when I got the truck. And the fuel filter that came out of this thing had chunks on it of that waxy stuff that gets in diesel. It just sat and was just gross. So the fuel system contamination, I don't know. I can't explain it other than the fact that it was dirty at one point, really dirty. But it's got a new lift pump. It's got all the injectors. It's got the CP3's new. So the tank was cleaned out. I just don't think that the people who did that work prior to me getting the truck ever decided to change the fuel filter. And I don't know why. These fuel filters should be changed with every oil change. If you're doing 5,000 miles or 7,500 miles, just change it. I change them with the fuel or the oil filter change. Oil filter, fuel filter. I'm going to put a Cat 1 micron on here. I'm not going to do the double filter. I'm going to do the single because I think I'm going to do an air dog. And if you want to flame me in the comments because I'm putting an air dog on a 200,000 mile motor, well, my fuel system's completely brand new. So it's like putting an air dog on a brand new truck. So since everything's been replaced, I'm probably going to take that filter off the side of the motor and replace it with the fleece delete kit, and then just run that single filter with the air dog double filters that are going underneath of it. The Cat 1 micron filter, those things last a pretty long time and they do a really good job. So I just drove the truck after the oil change cycling and clean out, and it runs just fine. I did about 10 miles, pushed it pretty hard, put my foot in it a few times, made a Ford guy look stupid. Not hard to do. He got out next to me and with his deleted 6-liter and put it to the floor, and then I put it to the floor, and he looked at the back end of my truck a little bit. That's a 6-liter. What do you expect? But anyway, so that's the end of videos today. I know this has been a long video series today. If you've been with me this long in the video, thank you. Thanks for sticking around. Like and subscribe. Thanks.